You're watching Pyro Media Network.
Thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We hope your experience is fruitful. Please feel free to visit our website to find out how you can join our growing family. While we are loading your experience, please do us a quick favor and hit that like button from whichever platform you're watching or listening on. Also, share so others may enjoy as well. And we hope you would consider hitting that subscribe or follow button so you can check out more of our amazing content. All right, let's start the show.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Dirty Laundry, the podcast with KO. Here we pull no punches and dive headfirst into the challenging conversations that our community needs to have, from economics and inner city violence to abortion and religious fanaticism, and white folks and everything in between. We tackle the tough issues that shape the Black experience with honesty, courage, and a vision for growth. Now, I'm going to be real. Some of the conversations might get a little messy, but hey, that's why we do laundry. We wash it, we rinse it, and we rebuild, because it's our duty to reclaim and control our narratives. Welcome to Dirty Laundry, y'all. Let's start the pre-wash.
No Christian ain't good with forgiving, ain't turning my cheek, now I'm raising that pistol. Lord, forgive me. With all my prayers, with all my strength, with all my pain, I'm fighting this war. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. No turning back, 'cause I'm free.
Hey, spread the word to my people. Yeah, spirit fell on me, told me fight against the evil, not turn, yeah. Fuck the sticks now, nigga, give me burners. Hold up, hey, spread the word to my people. Yeah, spirit fell on me, told me fight against the evil, not turn. We in the sticks, yeah, we all got burners. Hold up, hearing voices in my head say I need to be.
Let's get this pre-wash off, y'all.
What's going on, brother?
What's going on, brother? What's going on? What we got? What we got?
Another day, another dollar, brother. We got two things for you, my brother. We got Melania Trump and Diddy. Some updates on Diddy going on today. But first up, let's go with Melania Trump. Now, you know, y'all's first lady is out here trying to throw her husband under the bus. Check this out.
I have never had any knowledge of Epstein abuse of his victims. I was never involved in any capacity. I was not a participant, was never on Epstein's plane, and never visited his private island.
She said she has never did that before. But what
I was never on the plane. I never.
Call me now.
For your free read and looking at it.
But further in her speech, the First Lady also called on Congress to take action and to provide a forum for Epstein's victims to testify on Capitol Hill. Quote, I call on Congress to provide the women who have been victimized by Epstein with a public hearing specifically centered around the survivors. Now, why this is a big deal is because on one hand, you're saying that you've never had any relations or anything going on or even knew who Epstein was, yet you were found or yet your husband is best friends with him was best friends with him and allegedly y'all were seen in pictures together, y'all were hanging out together. So how did you not know who he was? So it just leads to, you know, to people saying, oh, well, you just kind of like threw your husband under the bus. What are your thoughts?
I think she's trying to get as far away from it as she can. But you remember when we used to do this back in the day? Yeah, yeah. How you gonna be married to somebody and you don't know what's going on? I know people could keep secrets, but like, I think that you are at Epstein's place with them. Go to the next high point, man. Let's go to the next. Yeah.
Well, enough of this one. We have Diddy. Now, Diddy, as you guys know, was found guilty, at least on one part, from the Mann Act. And one of the things that it's been going crazy is today, Diddy and his attorneys are demanding for his immediate prison release and to vacate his 50-month sentence after being convicted of federal transportation and prostitution charges. Diddy was convicted on July 2nd of 2025, but the disgraced music mogul was then sentenced to 4 years and 2 months in prison on October 3rd of 2025, and he was also tentative to a $500,000 fine. Now, plus 5 years of supervised release. Now, after Diddy was arrested back in September 2016, 2024, his team has repeatedly attempted to get him out of custody and vacate his charges, now conviction and 50-month prison sentence. Now, in their latest attempt to free Puff, his legal team is arguing that his, quote, freak-offs were not a violation of any law, specifically the Mann Act, which prohibits the transportation of prostitutes, quote, escorts across state lines to engage in sex acts. Now, Diddy's lawyers are claiming his filmed private sex parties were just kinky porn that should be protected under the First Amendment in the United States Constitution. Now, if this goes through, they will reverse everything that he was convicted of, and on top of that, they will also he'll go scot-free. He'll be free. And to be quite honest with you, people, if this gets overturned, people should be really concerned about this because he's going to come back with the vengeance.
Listen, he gonna come back with a vengeance, and his main phrase when he come back is gonna be take that, take that, take that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I already know what time it is because, I mean, let's be honest. Let's just be honest. Let's be honest, America. Let's be honest, everybody. Is your sexual preference illegal? Like, if he had 1,000 bottles of baby oil, like, that's something different, right? Your sexual preference isn't illegal. Now, how he treated Cassie, terrible, terrible, terrible. And how he treated his staff and the people around him, terrible, terrible, terrible. But that's not what's in question. What's in question is did he commit a crime?
Right. And that's the thing. So he was found innocent or free of charges rather of the other allegations. The issue is the Mann Act. And so the Mann Act specifically talks about prostitution being brought across state lines, specifically escorts. And yes, he hired escorts and he flew escorts in. However, they were filmed for his pleasure and the pleasure of his girlfriends at the time. So
if that's the case, Kwame, check this out. All of us going to jail because I done flew people to my house from another state.
Allegedly, we don't want to say that.
Allegedly, I can say allegedly. I'm just saying, like, where this is really murky water, man. Let's go into the third one. I'm gonna say
that's all I got for you today, brother.
That's all you got for me today. Okay, okay. I like the pre-wash, y'all. Thank you, Kwame, for coming out.
My pleasure.
Thank you for giving us the pre-wash segment. Let's go ahead and jump into the spin cycle.
Here we go.
Did segregation create a new era of Black culture? Did it help us or hurt us? Who were we before we assimilated? Did integration actually elevate Black America? Or did we unknowingly walk into a burning building? Did we sacrifice our integrity and morals under the guise of equality, but instead inherited toxic liberation? Before integration, who were we economically, socially, and culturally? Were we the super criminals that some narratives try to paint us as today? Or is that a label that modern constructs shaped by selective storytelling and systemic design? In a time where crime is sensationalized and Black fatigue has become quite a talking point among white Americans, we have to ask ourselves, are we being told the full story or just the most convenient version of it? So what's really at play here? Did integration come with unintended consequences that reshaped our communities in ways we didn't anticipate? Have generations of trauma, from chattel slavery to systemic oppression, manifested into cycles that are now being mischaracterized as inherent flaws? Or is the narrative simply a more polished, subtle evolution of the same old justification for racism? All these things we're going to unpack, but check this video out before we go to commercial break. Check this video out before we go to commercial break.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Aggressive Intelligence. Today, we're diving into a critical and often overlooked aspect of American history, the impact of integration on Black-owned businesses. To truly comprehend the impact of integration on Black-owned businesses, we must first acknowledge the rich history of Black entrepreneurship in America. In the decades following the abolition of slavery, African Americans displayed remarkable resilience and determination in establishing successful businesses. This period marked the emergence of a vibrant economic ecosystem within Black communities. With the onset of segregation, Black communities were not just facing adversity, they were thriving despite it. Forced to create their own businesses due to discriminatory practices, these enterprises became pillars of strength. One of the most celebrated examples is the Greenwood community in Tulsa, Oklahoma, often referred to as Black Wall Street. Segregation not only necessitated the creation of Black-owned businesses, but also provided a protected market. Laws prohibited Black individuals from shopping at white-owned stores, resulting in a self-sustaining economic environment within Black communities. As we delve into the success stories of Black-owned businesses during segregation, it becomes evident that despite the systemic challenges, these enterprises not only survived but thrived. The resilience and ingenuity of Black entrepreneurs were exemplified in various sectors. The insurance sector emerged as a powerhouse of Black entrepreneurship during segregation. For instance, the Booker T. Washington Insurance Company, founded in 1923, became one of the largest Black-owned businesses in Alabama. These companies were not just providing vital services, they were becoming essential pillars of economic stability within the Black community. Beauty care product manufacturers also played a pivotal role in Black entrepreneurship. Johnson's Products in Chicago stands out as a prime example. It became the only Black-controlled company whose stock was publicly traded, indicating substantial growth and market presence. This success demonstrated the viability and potential for growth in Black-owned businesses. Additionally, the retail sector saw remarkable growth during segregation, with Black-owned retail stores increasing by 31% between 1935 and 1939. These statistics reflect the resilience and determination of Black entrepreneurs to create thriving businesses in the face of systemic challenges. Despite the challenges of segregation, these successful Black-owned businesses played a crucial role in providing essential services and products to the Black community, contributing to economic independence, and advocating for anti-monopoly laws to preserve Black Americans' economic self-sufficiency and freedom. The success stories during segregation.
Hey, it's Pastor Kim from It's Just Kim Live Show, and you're watching Pyro Media Network.
Hey, it's Dr. Nicole D. Vick from Dr. Victorious, and you're watching Pyro Media Network.
Black mama still crying on TV. These young brothers still dying on TV. Crackers on the camera still lying on TV. 3% rappers might put it on the CD. And our leaders, most of them speechless. How you gonna preach when you ain't trying to reach us?
All right, y'all. Now, y'all heard that, right? Today, I'm just going to hear from the elders today, right? Today, I have somebody that's an elder in our community that is a storyteller, a drummer, and an elder in our community. We don't attach ourselves to the elders anymore and sit down and listen to our elderly people talk. We live in such a high-paced society that people just don't even want to hear what elderly people have to say anymore. But before we listen and go to Baba, let's look at this clip because I want y'all to be free. I want y'all to be free. Run that clip.
At last. Welcome, Neo. As you no doubt have guessed, I am Morpheus.
It's an honor to meet you.
No. The honor is mine. Please, come, sit. I imagine that right now you're feeling a bit like Alice. Tumbling down the rabbit hole?
You could say that.
I can see it in your eyes. You have the look of a man who accepts what he sees because he is expecting to wake up. Ironically, this is not far from the truth. Do you believe in fate, Neo?
No,
Why not?
because I don't like the idea that I'm not in control of my life.
I know exactly what you mean. Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life, that there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. It is this feeling that has brought you to me. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Matrix.
Do you want to know what it is? The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
What truth?
That you are a slave, Neo.
Oh,
Like everyone else, you were born into bondage. Born into a prison.
cut it off. 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 You are a slave. And with that, I'm going to introduce our elder tonight. Y'all give a warm, dirty laundry welcome to our guest tonight, Baba Ken Ajanaku.
Spirit fell on me, told me fight against the evil Nat Turner. Nat Turner. We in the streets, now we all got burners. Hearing voices in my head say I need to be.
Doctor, hey, what's going on, Baba?
Hotep God, how you doing?
Man, I'm holding on like Jeffrey Osborne. Did you hear what's
Yes.
going on? Hey, listen,
Yes.
integration. You know what our topic is tonight: integration and desegregation. Oh my God! I bet you have so many stories to tell.
Yes, sir. To that point, I would have to unite with Dr. Martin Luther King when he says, I have integrated my people into a burning house. I have to unite with that. And someone being 78 years old, you see, I come up doing segregation in the Mill Creek area. And
Bob,
go ahead.
Let me interrupt you right there. A lot of people don't know what Mill Creek is. Can you tell them what Mill Creek is and where it was?
Mill Creek was down between Market, Laclede, all the way up to Lindell. And you know where is now Harris Stowe College?
Yes, sir.
All of that was the Mill Creek area.
And they did urban renewal. It took that whole prosperous Black community away. Is that correct?
That's correct. They gentrified the area. They ran a highway right through the area. And they did this all across the United States to disrupt the unity that our people had in segregated communities.
Now, what if somebody, now, Baba, let me give you some pushback, because you know it's a lot of people out here that be like, ah, man, we got this narrative. Everybody's acting like they want to be a victim and all that stuff. Is this made up, Baba?
No, sir. It's definitely not made up. And all you have to do is research it. See, if you are ignorant today, it's because you choose to be, because the information is out here now.
Yes, 78 years young.
Yes, sir. And when I was segregated, all of the businesses was owned by Black people, except the confectionaries. And also, you know, they wouldn't allow us to own any real estate. The small hats had that.
Yeah.
But most of the other businesses, brother, we owned, which means the money turned over in our community at least 10 times.
We practice
because segregation,
we practice group economics then. Sorry to interrupt, Baba. Go ahead.
Yeah, segregation forced us to have our money to have some sense. And I think it has really hurt us because, like I say, now we're nothing but consumers for white businesses.
Ah, man, don't say that too loud. You know, they try to say that this is conspiratory and we don't know what we're talking about. And, you know, these guys are acting like victims. So what year were you a little boy in St. Louis?
In St. Louis, I was a little boy in the 50s. I was born 1947.
And then to my understanding, Baba, desegregation was in the 50s, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it wasn't when I was a little boy.
Okay.
The desegregation didn't probably start until 50 something.
Like 54, 55?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was life like then during times of desegregation? You being an elder that lived through that.
Man, life was beautiful. All the teachers was Black. They also had a relationship with parents in the community. Children was taught to respect their elders. I had never heard of someone jumping on a teacher when I was coming up. But you see, now the youth don't have the same type of respect that we had for our elders and our teachers and our parents. And we're going to have to get back to that. That's
Absolutely.
why I really appreciate organizations like The Village, who's training young people, teaching young people about our history and about our culture. One of our biggest problems, brother, we don't know who we are. And it's not our fault. We have been programmed and indoctrinated not to know who we are, not to realize that we are gods having a human experience.
That is true. You know, that segues into what the first question, you kind of covered the question that I was going to get to. It was like, before integration, what did our communities have that we lost?
Unity. I can remember you can get a knock on your door. You go to the door and your neighbor is there saying, Mama say, do you have a cup of sugar? Because they got the Kool-Aid and they didn't have the sugar. So we would give them a cup of sugar. Somebody might knock on the door. Mama say, you got 2 slices of bread. We would give them 2 slices of bread. We had unity. We cared about one another.
Let them tell it, Baba. We don't have unity. We didn't have unity. We didn't have that.
We lost it, brother, because of integration, because of the St. Louis public school system. We lost most of our history and most of our culture.
I'm saying, Baba, you setting it on fire right now. It's a lot of people that be like, black people chose that. There wasn't anything systemic that happened. And then I say, what about the Delmar divide? What about redlining? What about gentrification?
That's right.
What about the misappropriation of funds, Title I funds for public education? Because we do know public school education wasn't originally for us.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
So how did integration actually feel in real time for you personally? Not just what people said it would be. How did it feel to you?
It felt warm. It felt I was cared about.
I'm saying integration. I'm saying my question was, how did integration feel to you after we left that setting where we practiced group economics, had our communities? Because see, I'm not a spring chicken. I'm kind of a little bit older, but I think my era, we got the last parts of the black community. Because I remember in the 80s, the older guys would turn us off from stuff, and then we could keep our doors open all night, and
that's
nobody
right.
break in, and all of us knew our neighbors. And if we got in trouble down the street, we got in trouble at home again.
That's right.
And
that's right.
So how did integration actually feel in real time for you personally? Not just what people said it was about. Like, how did it feel to integrate with white people? Did you want to do that?
No, I didn't want to do that. And I was able to, even at a young age, I was able to see how it was hurting us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was able to see that at an early age.
And this is always something that I'm going to clarify for the audience, because I'm not being racially prejudiced as much as I'm being culturally conscious. So, a lot of people will get the white fragility will come in, and people, my audience who will watch this, they'll be like, oh, this is racial rhetoric. Well, to a certain degree it is, but if you're going to categorize black people as super predators and try to say that we commit most of the crimes, we got to figure out where that happened and when that happened, don't we?
And we have to understand that we do not create nor control any crime. It's all created. Who dropped the crack off in our community? The CIA, the government.
That's right. Fighting that war in Nicaragua, Ronald Reagan.
That's right. That's right.
We never recovered from that either.
No, we hadn't. And we have had a police chief who was involved with drug trafficking in St. Louis, Missouri. So what I'm saying is, they do not want to do anything about crime because they're making money off of crime.
And most importantly, they're making money off of us too, because school is the prison pipeline. I'm glad that you said something about public school, right?
Yes, sir.
My son, of whom you know, has been homeschooled his whole entire life. He's 13. He ain't never set foot in public school. And I think that social contagion is ruining our children. Would you agree with that?
Also, I'm in the schools a lot now. Teach for America. These white teachers are nothing but a conduit to prison.
Prison pipeline.
That's right. They can't relate to our children, and they are afraid of black boys. And I have also noticed how they are now giving our children drugs like Ritalin and other type of drugs.
That's a shame.
Which is crazy.
Well, it's, to me, it's by design because, you know, you got the Food and Drug Administration. You know, how else are drugs getting mass produced and thrown into our neighborhoods? My third question to you is looking back now, right, Baba, what do you think what do you think we should have done differently as a people during that time? What should we have done? What could
we should have not accepted integration. To me, that was the worst thing we could have done, is accepted that. And not understanding that the white man ice isn't colder. We could have continued supporting our own businesses. You see, when I was coming up, we didn't have refrigerators. We had what is called ice boxes.
Yeah,
and a white man,
ice box. Yeah.
And the white man would bring us the ice, right? So the brothers in the community say, well, we can freeze water and sell ice in our own community to Miss Johnson, Miss James, the people who've been knowing us since we come into the world. So the brothers start freezing ice, water, and making ice, and they started trying to serve it in our communities. But our people said the white man's ice was colder. That's a true story.
That is such, you know what, Baba, it's so much to unpack, man. You know, oh my God, like when I talk about this, you know, I do my docu-series called My Interview with Life, right? And that is my attempt to break down barriers in socialization, right? So people can really understand that a lot of things have been forced societal perceptions. Things have been fed to you that are not necessarily true. But I like to talk to my elders because my elders actually lived that experience. You actually lived that.
And you have some young, intelligent people, but you do not have wise people, because in order to become wise, you have to have some life experiences.
Absolutely, Baba.
And I appreciate your program, which is preaching truth against power and truth against lies. And as Sankofa says, we got to return to our past to know what we're going for the future.
Hey, you know what, Baba? I'm gonna put a period right there with you because that's so profound. So I want to ask you before you get off, where can we find you? Where are you at? Are you in St. Louis, right?
I'm in St. Louis, Missouri. As you know, I'm a visual and performing artist. I make jewelry. I teach jewelry classes. I'm also a professional storyteller. We teach storytelling classes because we got to show our young people something more than just boxing, baseball, football, basketball, rapping, and selling drugs as a way to make a living. We must expose our young people to the visual and performing arts. And I'm also a street vendor, and I set up on Delmore, right at Union, right out in front of Legacies.
Tell everybody when we can find you there.
You can find me there like tomorrow. It's supposed to rain for the next few days, but whenever the weather is nice and I don't have anything else to do, that's where you can find me.
Damn, I'm gonna reiterate that to y'all. You can find Dr. Baba Ken Ajanaku at Delmar and Union Monday through Friday.
Yeah, 7 days a week.
7 days a week. So Baba don't even take no days off.
No, you know the bills keep coming.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So with that, y'all, go support my elder. We're going to have him on the show again. Hey, Baba, thank you so much for coming on tonight. I really appreciate it. Y'all go and check him out at Delmar and Union 7 days a week.
And can you take my telephone number so they can call and find out if I'm there or not?
Yes, sir. We will put that in the chat. I will make sure that they get your telephone number in the chat.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
then, brother. And thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Peace to the God.
And stay up because it's too crowded at the bottom.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. All right, brother.
All right, brother. Peace.
Two times.
Spirit fell on me, told me fight against the evil Nat Turner. Nat Turner. We in the streets, now we all got burners. I'm hearing voices in my head say I need to.
See what I'm saying? When you start to ask the elderly people what really happened and not being caught up in what the media tells you about how that experience was, you got to hear it first from your elders in order to understand where you need to be going. You don't even know who you are. Because my question is how do we go from this? How do we go from this? Show the pictures of it. Not that. How do we go from this? Right? This right here. This look at these. How do we go from this? This, this Queen Latifah, to this. And even with that, how do we go from that? How do we go from all that to this? How? How do we go from a people who had pride in themselves and pride in their communities and pride in their children, a 77% single parent household in less than 100 years? How'd that happen? I mean, I'm old enough to remember Poor Righteous Teachers. I'm old enough to remember X-Clan. I remember they played Public Enemy on the radio. Fight the Power. Was crime high then? Was our children out of control then? Pre-desegregation and integration, we had a nuclear Black family. Both parents were in the household. How do we go from that? How do we get to that? How do we get to that? You know what? Play the next video clip. Check this out.
In the beginning, the civil rights movement was about equal rights and equal protection under the law, something that we still don't have to this day.
Okay.
Equal rights and equal protection. That's why the police shoot this group of people and they hardly shoot these kind of people.
Yeah.
You've never seen a police shooting where an Asian been shot. Oh no.
That fucked up, bro. You be saying some shit, but you never seen a shooting with an Asian.
Shit, no. So let me just say this. Equal rights and equal protection. It was never about integration and us eating at countertops with white people restaurants. It was never about that. It was always about equal rights and equal protection. After that meeting with Kennedy and them, homie, then it became about integration. Because now it's about economics. Now it's about economics. This is a vibrant community. And it's been vibrant since we released them from slavery. At this time when we decide to integrate, we are a vibrant people economically. We got our own school. Almost 90% of our community is married. Wasn't no bunch of single mamas. Wasn't a bunch of people on drugs. It was a small portion of Black people that was nigga fucked up. These people had a struggle that they was overcoming and was vibrant as they was doing it. So let's integrate, y'all. Now when we integrate, we over there, but we still getting mistreated. We still got to sit at the back of the bus. We don't have equal rights or equal protection. So nigga, we got lost. Nigga, he got lost in the movement.
How you think he got lost?
Nigga, he took the money.
When you take the money, you got to take the instructions.
Man, when you take the money, nigga, you like a motherfucker on welfare, homie. You're now dependent upon what they giving you. It's just like your preacher.
I'm just saying, like, listen, there's what the world considers the truth, and then there's what's actually the truth. I mean, you know what? Run the clip of Harry Belafonte talking about what Baba was talking about with Martin Luther King. Run that clip.
The last time I spoke with Dr. King, from a somewhat anguished place, he had pointed out that he felt that with all that we'd done to fight for truth and to fight for community, to fight for integration, that he had come to the conclusion that he was afraid that we're integrating into a burning house. I asked him if he felt with all of this energy that we'd expended for peace and for brotherhood and human harmony, if we're integrating into a burning house, what would that make of us? What would we become? And his remark was very simple. We're just going to have to become firemen.
And that's what Dirty Laundry is about. Putting out the fires that systemic oppression has started in our experience. Now, to my audience that is of a different ethnic proclivity, I would like for you to empathize and also to listen to each one of these shows and see how you can be the change that we need to see. So with that, it's time to check the facts. Let's go ahead and check the facts. Before integration, Black communities had self-sustaining economic systems. We had self-sustaining economic systems. Due to segregation, Black-owned schools and businesses and banks and professional networks. After integration, many Black institutions were closed, underfunded, or absorbed into white-controlled systems. For example, thousands of Black teachers and principals lost their jobs when Black schools were shut down rather than integrated equally. Black students often entered white institutions, but Black educators and leadership were not equally integrated, leading to a loss of community control and role models. Integration often meant Black students had to enter hostile or unwelcoming environments rather than systems being restructured equitably. Events like the integration of Central High School in Little Rock highlight the violence and resistance Black students faced. Cultural identity was often suppressed. Black students were expected to assimilate into white norms rather than mutual cultural exchange. This created psychological stress and, in some cases, identity fragmentation for students navigating two worlds. Legal desegregation did not eliminate structural inequality. It often repackaged it. Due to housing patterns shaped by policies like redlining, schools remain effectively segregated by neighborhood. Predominantly Black schools continued to receive less funding and fewer resources even after integration laws. This contributed to ongoing achievement gaps and reinforced systemic inequality rather than eliminating it. The bottom line is desegregation was a legal and moral necessity, but its execution often came with costs to Black autonomy, economic strength, and institutional control. Many scholars argue the issue wasn't integration itself. It was integration without equity, protection, or reciprocal investment. With that, let's go to commercial, y'all. Let's think about that. Let's go to commercial.
Hey, how y'all doing? Real quick, this is Daryl Walter, host of the Daryl Walter Show. I know. And you are watching Pyro Media Network.
Bring it up. Bring it back.
Tammy from Tammy's Take, and you're watching Pyro Media Network.
Black mama still crying on TV. These young brothers still dying on TV. Crackers on the camera still lying on TV. 3% rappers might put it on the CD. And our leaders, most of them speechless. How you gonna preach when you ain't trying to reach us?
All right, y'all, we back. And, you know, I hope you're enjoying the show so far. It's a lot of things that we done unpacked and some things that we have to consider. Some things we got to think about, you know what I'm saying? Just take a deep dive into the conversation today and some of the things that you've seen on the show. And with that, it's time for the rent cycle. Is it the American dream or is it the American reality? For many Black Americans, the American dream has always been conditional. The American dream experience for Blacks reflects a contradiction, a system that promotes individual success while historically restricting collective access to opportunity. That gap produces what feels like a nightmare for some of us, not because of the lack of effort, but because of unequal starting points and structural barriers. Degradation has been packaged as escape when survival behaviors, trauma responses, or street economies are marketed as culture, rewarded with visibility and money, detached from their consequences. And they're detached from their consequences. Like, our children get to run amok in the media and make whatever messages they want while the FCC regulates all the messages. It can create a feedback loop where dysfunction appears as a pathway out, but it's important to be precise. That packaging is largely driven by external systems of profit. The adoption of it internally is where accountability still matters for us. Both can be true at the same time. The core issue for us as African Americans is narrative control. If a group doesn't control its narrative, it will be defined by outsiders, reduced to stereotypes, and judged without context. You see that all the time. Reclaiming the narratives means elevating balanced stories. That's why we talk to the elder on the line. Teaching historical and structural literacy and being honest about internal challenges without feeding external distortions. What does that mean? You have to take accountability for the things that you signed up for. Bottom line, this isn't simply about we started acting different. Okay? It's about what was incentivized, what was marginalized, and who benefited from them both. We as Black people have a responsibility to interrogate the system, to hold the culture accountable where necessary, reassert control over how the story is being told, and pretty much rewrite our own narratives and reclaim our narratives. So with that, I'm going to see y'all next week, where our topic will be Black fatigue. Good night, everybody. I hope this information helps you take your life off spin cycle. Let's put it on the clothesline. Every time I do a show, I always like to introduce a book, right? And this week's book is Post-Traumatic Slave Disorder, Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome by Dr. Joy DeGruy. Please always remember that there was a time when reading for Blacks was outlawed. Then it was said if you want to hide something from a Black person, to put it in a book. So here's the book. The book is Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome. Read this book. I found it to be quite enlightening, right? So with that, you can follow me at I'm a King Studios on Instagram. That's IAMAKING Studios at Instagram. You can follow me at Kevin R. Lewis at Facebook, and you can follow me at I'm a King Studios on YouTube. Also, you can check my website out at www.iamakingnetwork.com. And don't forget, before we leave, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Good night, y'all.
Thank you for watching Pyro Media Network. For more information, please visit pyromedianetwork.com.